Trick or treat. Hello and welcome to the Daily Millwall for Friday, the 31st of October 2025, otherwise known as Halloween. And to start the video, I'm going to show you this little clip that Millwall put up on their X page of some hilarity that they filmed, which I presume that's down at the training ground.
Where's the other man? For real. So much. She's a Hello? Wow. That's a good master. Oh my god. What do? Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's me. Oh my You absolute tillbit. Who's that? Who's that? Oh my god. That was good. That was a good one.
So there you go. Fun and games. If you didn't notice, that was Danny Mac wearing the mask there. Was that Ballo that dropped his coffee? So, yeah, that happened at Mill this week. Now, moving on to this from millfc.co.uk. Ticket selling details for Portsmouth away. And again, I think this is a highly sought after fixture. We have the loyalty points are coming into play. So let's read out and see whether you will or will not be able to get to any points. I believe, what was the last big game? Was it Birmingham QPR? I think it was around about 570. So I think that's the mark for being able to get a ticket. So Mill travelled to Portsmouth in the Sky Bet Championship on Saturday the 22nd of November, kick-off at 3 p.m. and tickets will go on sale to season ticket holders with 630 or more loyalty points from the 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday the 4th of November. Remember, the 4th of November. I've got to try and buy some Portsmouth tickets. There's a little clue, a little memory aid for you. Now, on Wednesday the 5th of November, it's going to be 610 or more loyalty points. On Thursday the 6th of November, it's going to be 590 or more loyalty points. On Friday the 7th of November, it's 570 or more loyalty points. And then on Monday, so they've got the whole weekend. So if people with 570 or more loyalty points, it goes on sale on Friday. You've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday to buy your ticket. And then on Monday the 10th of November, it's 560 or less. So it's all other season ticket holders. So if you were to buy a season ticket today, which I don't know if they're still available, you'll probably be paying full price. I doubt they'll let you buy a half season ticket yet. You could just jump in and get a ticket on Monday the 10th, but I don't think it will be available. It might not go that far, depending on how many tickets we've got. And of course, we don't know yet because I haven't scrolled down and shown you. Now, so from Monday the 10th, all other season ticket holders. On Tuesday the 11th, it is members who have 130 or more loyalty points. And then on Wednesday the 12th, it is members who have 110 or more loyalty points. And then on Thursday the 13th, it is all other members. 100% it will not be going that far. 100%. Safe standing of seated tickets are priced at £30 for adults, £24 for over 65s, £21 for under 23s, £13 for under 18s, £8 and for under 14s, and £6 for under 11s. How many tickets have we got? How many tickets have we got? How many tickets have we got? We have an initial allocation, or is it, we have an allocation, not initial, just so it looks like this is all we're getting, of 2,144 tickets. So I think season tickets will take that. We got around 9,000 season ticket holders. I think 2,144 of them will be off, would want to go to this game, especially because it's a 3 p.m. kickoff on a Saturday. Last season's was midweek. I know because I was there. So there you go. Yeah, there you go. So remember the 4th of November, but only if you have 630 or more loyalty points. Now, moving on to this from the southernnews.co.uk. More stuff from Alex Neil. So obviously, I think they talk to him I don't think they talk to him every day. I think they talk to him probably 2 times a week, and then they pass it out bit by bit. So all the elements of the game we've improved over the past 10 months. Millwall can play any style of football, Alex Neil says. Millwall can adapt to any style of play, Alex Neil said. The Lions have won their last 4 games in a row and now sit third in the Championship, 2 points behind second place Middlesbrough. Millwall travel to face 19th place Oxford United this Saturday, coached by ex-Lions boss Gary Rowett. Neil's asked if his approach to games has changed now that Millwall are near the top of the table. I don't think it changes, regardless of where we are. Our preparation remains the same. We prepare for the game for it to pan out in any way. If it's a direct game, we're very physical and we can go and compete in the first and second balls. And if it's a passing game, we can press in and we can go after the ball. If it's a game where we've got more of the ball, then I think we would become better and better at retaining possession and trying to break the opposition down and being dangerous on the counter, as well as trying to build in the middle third and the final third of the pitch. All the elements of the game we've improved over the last 10 months. As we're all aware, if you don't perform to the level you can in each of those aspects on a Saturday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday, you'll come up short in the Championship, and that's the nature of the game. So we know we're going to have to be at our best again to go and try and win this next game. But more importantly, have a good week going into this 3-game week. Indeed, next week is a 3-game week. Was it Oxford, Birmingham and Preston? And Preston's an early kickoff. Now, moving on to this. Also from southernnews.co.uk, and this came out today. Alex Neil talking about the big man himself, James Burleson. What did he say? Mill boss, at times I need to stop Jimmy from wanting to put more money into it. Alex Neil is happy to work with the constraints of Mill's budget and joked that at times he had to stop Chairman James Burleson from just putting more money into the club. The Lions have invested heavily in the first team, breaking their transfer record 3 times in the past 3 windows to sign Mihailo Ivanovic, Kamil Negley and Josh Coburn, and signing 22 players permanently since July 2024. The work off the pitch has translated into success off the pitch, with Millwall currently third in the Championship, having won their past 4 games in a row. Since being appointed head coach on December the 30th, 2024, Neil has overseen 35 league games, winning 18, drawing 6 and losing 11. His side have accumulated 60 points in that span, averaging 1.71 points per game. Extrapolated over a full 46-game season, that would mean Millwall would finish on 79 points, which is usually enough for 4th or 5th, sometimes 3rd. Asked if Mill's recent success will strengthen his hand in asking for more resources in January, Neil said, I don't have that view on it at all. At times I need to stop Jimmy from wanting to put more money into it. And it's certainly not that I'm trying to convince Jimmy or Steve or anybody else for that matter. In terms of strengthening, that's not how we work. We work as a collective. Jim is desperate to see this club do well and progress, and Steve's obviously working really hard in terms of trying to identify players and get deals done and speak to agents and all that sort of stuff. And my job is to try and deal with the day-to-day stuff on the grass with the players to try and make sure we're well set up. So I don't have any views on trying to strengthen. The simple fact is, I work within the constraints of the club where we are. And, if Jimmy and Steve feel that we can go and have some players and Jimmy's happy to put the money in, which he has been every time, then great. If he isn't, then we'll just crack on. Neil was then asked if he had encountered an ownership situation or like that in his career up to that point. I think it's quite unique, Neil said. The only thing I will add is, even before my time coming here, the club's been adept as well at selling players, haven't they? We brought in somewhere in the region of maybe like 25 and 30 million pounds over the last 3 transfer windows, which is brilliant business for the club, and it allows the wheels to keep turning. What we all need to remember is that Jimmy funds this club at a loss every year out of his own pocket, and the least that should happen is some of that gets brought back in transfer fees. Exactly. Thank you very much, James Burrelson. And before him, John Burrelson, who underwrite the club's losses so far to an enormous amount. And this is what, for me, what this has become about trying to get promoted. It's not about, we're going to get in the Premier League, we're going to be big time, we're going to be fantastic, we're going to turn into, what Crystal Palace have become and all that. No, we want to get to the Premier League so we can make some money, so James Burrelson, can get some of his money back. And obviously he gets that, and the fans get trips up and down the country to grounds that we haven't seen for many years, and some grounds we haven't even been to. We haven't been to the Emirates, have we? And we haven't been to the London Stadium, although we might not go if we go up this season. They're probably coming down. But, obviously the new Everton ground, we've been to the old one, we haven't been to the new one. So, and, that's what it's all about, isn't it? So we'll see what we can do. Yeah. That's what it's about. That is what it's about. Now, moving on to talking about the game tomorrow against Oxford. And here we go from the southernnews.co.uk. We know what we're going to get. Mill boss outlines what he expects from Gary Rowett's Oxford United. 1 second, please. Alex Neil's outlined what he expects from Gary Rowett's Oxford United ahead of his side's trip to the Kassam Stadium on Saturday. Rowett was appointed the U's head coach on December the 20th, 2024, with Oxford languishing in the relegation zone in their first season in the second tier since the 1998-99 campaign. He won his first 3 games in charge, the last of which was a 1-0 win at the Den on January the 1st, 2025. Coincidentally, Alex Neil's first match as Millwall boss. Rowett guided them to safety that season, with the U's finishing 4 points clear of the drop zone in 17th. Oxford are currently 19th in the Championship, having won 3, drawn 3 and lost 6. Neil expects the Kassam Stadium to be a tricky venue to visit. It will be a tough game, I've watched a lot of their games, so prepping for different teams. I watched them against QPR, and I thought they were very good there, and were unfortunate not to win that one. I watched them against Coventry, and they've got a 2-2 draw at home, and I watched them last night against Bristol, and I watched them last night against Hull, and I've watched them against Portsmouth, the first game of the season. I've probably seen them about 6 or 7 times already. We know what we're going to get, it's going to be a tough game. Defensively, they're strong, dangerous on the counter-attack. It's going to be an important game for both teams. Asked if Rowett's 4 years as Millwall boss might give him an edge, Neil said, I don't know, I'm not really fussed about that. I couldn't give a fucking shite, mate. Yeah. Not really fussed. Fantastic, Obviously, this week particularly, there's been a lot of mention. Obviously, as we just read, this isn't Gary Rowett's first time back as a manager since leaving Millwall. But this time particularly, there's been a lot of discussion about Gary Rowett's tenure at Millwall. Like a post hoc rationalisation. Was he any good? Is it this and that? Or revising the history to try and figure out, what was that about? And a lot of people digging him out and all this kind of stuff, which obviously that Blackburn game was ridiculously bad, but I've got to say, if we do ascend either this season or next season and do take that next step up to the division above, it's clear to see that Gary Rowett's tenure as Millwall manager is going to be a foundation stone in that success. We were a yo-yo club. We were too big for League One and too small for the Championship. And we were going up and down, like a horse draws. And that needed to stop. And Gary Rowett was the manager that stopped doing that. He transformed it in the similar way. Was the football good? No way. Did we have any cup runs that were exciting? No, absolutely not. Should we have got into the playoffs and not lost that game after being up at half time against Blackburn? Absolutely. But overall, just having the ability to eke out the wins that you need to stay up and finish mid-table, finish top half of the table, what that does then, it makes you an attractive prospect. It makes you a legitimate championship team. You're not constantly fighting relegation. So then players want to come, managers want to come. If we were constantly fighting relegation, would Alex Neil have came here? Probably not, but I don't know. But you've got to realise that, Gary Rowett certainly could have done things differently and they could have been better, but he is a foundation for the success that we're having now. And if we do go on further, a foundation in that success as well. Now, talking of Gary Rowett, here he is. We've got some comments from him. They say he's saying nice things about us after what I just said about him. Otherwise, I might have to change my tune. SummitNews.co.uk. Oxford United boss Gary Rowett hopes Millwall gate crash the top positions in this division and discusses ex-Lion striker's lack of minutes. Oxford United boss Gary Rowett said he would relish the prospect of his former side Millwall gate crashing the top six of the Championship ahead of the Lions' trip to the Kassam Stadium this Saturday. Rowett managed Millwall for 4 years between October 2019 and October 2023. And that's another thing to remember as well. How crazy the world was in, March 2020? For the next couple of years after that. Everyone felt, the world's going to end, we're all going to fucking die and all that shit. So you do have to take that into context. Nearly guided to the Lions in the playoffs in 2019-20 and 22-23 seasons, missing the top six by 2 points and 1 point respectively. The 51-year-old was appointed youth boss in December 2024 and led them to 3 wins in his first 3 games, the third of which was a 1-0 win at the Den on January the 1st, 2025, also Alex Neil's first match as Millwall head coach. Although, to be fair, he only had 2 days in the job by then. Rowett guided Oxford to safety that season, finishing 4 points above the drop zone in 17th. Oxford are currently 19th in the Championship, having won 3, drawn 3 and lost 6. Neil led Millwall to within 2 points of the playoffs again last season, and as they side third after 4 consecutive wins. Rowett, Rowett would love to see them go all the way this campaign.
I think myself, everyone would love to see Millwall gate crash the top positions in the division. It looks like they're certainly giving themselves a good go. It's such a unique club in terms of fan base, but the way they've gone about things, it's certainly a beacon for any smaller team in the Championship. Rowett is not the only ex-Lion on Oxford's books. Striker Tom Bradshaw spent 6.5 seasons at the Den before joining the U's in January. The 33-year-old is yet to open his account for Oxford and has only made 3 league appearances this campaign, all of which were off the bench. Tom Bradshaw, I've worked with him before, and he's a player and a character that I absolutely love. To come in every week with a smile on his face and work incredibly hard without the reward of the weekend, that's quite difficult. Rowett also issued an injury update ahead of the game with captain Cameron Brannigan, who scored a free kick against Sheffield Wednesday last week, likely to be available for the clash. Hopefully a couple more days rest and Brano will be good to go. Brodie Spencer, I think, is probably going to be a lot longer. It looks as though it's a foot injury, maybe a metatarsal injury, so he'll be out for a good few weeks, I would imagine. And that's another thing with Rowett. He loved the nickname, didn't he? Brano, Bradders, he loved all that. So there you go. He wants us to go up. Of course, he's, like I said, if we do go up, then his tenure is going to be seen as helping to send that on its way as a foundation. It makes him look better in retrospect to some extent. Right, let's get on this. EFL.com, they do this thing before every match day, and Sky Bet Championship pre-match stat pack. And here we go. Oxford United versus Millwall. Oxford United are unbeaten across their last 3 league games against Millwall. They've won 2 and drawn 1. Only once having a longer run against the Lions in any EFL history. 4 matches between 1969 and 1970. Millwall remain unbeaten across their last 5 away league games against Oxford United, winning 4 of those matches and netting 2+ goals in each victory. So we haven't lost away at Oxford in 5 away games. And 4 of those have been won by 2 or more goals. And only 1 of them is a draw. After beating Sheffield Wednesday 2-1 last time out, Oxford will be looking to win consecutive Championship matches for the first time since January earlier this year. So 30 matches played, so they have not won 2 games in a row in 30 matches played. Well, that sounds good. So they're inconsistent, or they're not good enough to win games. They have to eke out wins, such as against Sheffield Wednesday, where they only beat them 2-1. And Sheffield Wednesday, I think they had to have. I think they did get an emergency goalkeeper in on loan at the end, didn't they? But I think they got a keeper in on loan. He got a red card, so they had to bring another one in on the emergency loan, because otherwise they would have to play an 18-year-old. So they only just managed to get through that 2-1. Mill won each of their last 4 league games and will be looking to win 5 in succession for the first time since their final 5 Championship fixtures of 23-24. Mill have won 7 of their opening 12 Championship games this season, the most they've ever won at this stage of a second-tier campaign across the club history. Wow. Right, so here we go. Let's have a look at the history. So Oxford United, we haven't played them that many times, realistically, because we haven't been in the same division, and I think they only came into the league in the 1960s, or maybe in late 1950s. They used to be called Headington United, and they changed the name to Oxford as a bit of a PR push to help them get elected, because I think they failed election like 2 or 3 times. And once they changed the name, it did actually work. So this is the list of obviously games. It's sorted by away games first. What I will say though, we have played them so many times in the League Cup. I don't know if there is a way of finding out how many teams we've played and how many times in each cup, but something like 6 times home and away in the League Cup. That's got to be insane just for one fixture. But as you can see, this is a fixture that has a lot of defeats in it, really. And you wouldn't think it. Millwall versus Oxford. They're not. We're certainly, I would imagine, a bigger club than they are, historically and right here at the moment. But going away to Oxford, and you can see here a lot of red, a lot of L's. And 1981, 2 defeats in a row, April and October. One of them was in the League Cup though. A draw in 1982. So we went to, what was that? Oh, that's a hell of a run. So we won in 1979, and then we didn't win again over all these games until 1993. And that includes a 4-2 defeat and a 3-0 defeat. So that's, when you think around this time, this is when, 1991, we had quite a strong team then, no? That was after we just come down. Sheringham, was he still here then, or had he gone? We did get back in the playoffs in that season, but we obviously didn't go up again. So we would have been quite strong here, and we still couldn't go up there and win. But if you look at the more recent history, which is the last time out, was a 1-1 draw. Obviously the first time in a while that we played them, they came up first season, last season. Before that, it was a 2-2 draw in the League Cup that's given us a loss. So this, I assume, would have been a penalty loss, penalty shoot kick loss, penalty spot kick loss. But in the league, 4 wins in a row, but one of them's a Johnson Page Trophy. And again in 1996 we lose 1-0 in the FA Cup. So more recently, we go up there and win, mostly, except for that League Cup game, which was a draw technically. So again, that doesn't count as a loss in my book. So you could say the last time we lost up there was in 1996 in the FA Cup game, but then you could say the last time we lost up there in the league was in 1993, 3-0 defeat in what was then called League Division 1, but was actually, that would have been that would have been League 1, wasn't it? I can't remember. They went through this phase when the Premiership started of renaming the leagues, and it was kind of weird. So that was probably the Championship then, because the Premier League started in 1992. So yeah. So if you look more recently, it's a game we win. But if you look over the long history, there's a lot of defeats here. So could go either way, really. Let's have a look at this. So, head to head, as we've just seen, last 6 games though. Last 6 games. We've won 4, drawn 1, lost 1. They've scored 5 goals. We've doubled that. We've scored 11 against them. And we've doubled them on yellow cards. We've got 8 yellow cards. They've got 4 yellow cards. We also have a sending off. If you look at the match facts on the right hand side, Mill have been winning at both half time and full time in the last 4 matches. Yes, it's very important to score the first goal, is it not? Mill have won their last 4 matches in the Championship. Yes, it's a great time to be alive. Millwall are undefeated in their last 6 away matches against Oxford in all competitions. Again, I don't think they're including that penalty shootout loss, so I wouldn't either. Over the game, you draw the game, but you lose the tie. So I think they could include in that. Go down to here. Obviously, we're third in the table. We've won 7, we've drawn 2, we've lost 3. We've scored 14, we've conceded 13. That's not too dissimilar to Oxford's goals for and against. They've scored 13, conceded 15. But for that, they've got 3 wins, 3 draws, and 6 defeats. And they are 19th. Obviously, Coventry played today. It's not up here because this was set up before the game's finished, but I can show you by looking at my phone that Wrexham beat Coventry 3-2. So, should I tempt fate and say it? If we win tomorrow, we're going to close the gap on Coventry. Should I say that? Or have I just ruined our chances of winning that game? Yeah, if we win, we get 26 points and we close the gap to Coventry to 2. Although, well, yeah, I mean, even if Middlesbrough win, they won't go top because of the goal difference. So there you go. Now, obviously, Sheffield Wednesday basically guaranteed to finish in the relegation places. So that leaves 2 other places which Oxford are trying to get away from, and there are 2 big clubs below them. You could argue all of the clubs below them are bigger, really, but certainly, Southampton were in the Premier League last year, and Sheffield United were in the Premier League last year. So you would imagine that they should. Well, although Luton didn't, Luton did go down, so maybe both of these teams could go down. But you would imagine they have the wherewithal and the means to start climbing the table and maybe go above Oxford. So, yeah. But that's what the table looks like. I think we're far enough into the season now to, obviously we are a quarter of the way in, to look at the form table. And there you go. Second in the form table, 4 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat. Only team above us is Coventry with a 100% record, although obviously that got shattered today away at Pub FC, Wrexham, losing 3-2. So there you go. And Oxford are way down here. They have won 2 games in the last 6, which means they're not the worst, but they're not the best. But again, which is quite unsimilar to how Gary Rowett was when he was at us. They look like they're either winning or they're losing. They're not really playing for draws. Draws don't do you no good, unless you're turning a defeat into a draw. So if you're losing, and then you come back from a losing position to draw, that's probably better than losing, isn't it? But you really need to win it. Trying to win a game is better than holding on for the draw, which is not, Gary Rowett seemed to want to try and hold on to the draw when he was Millwall manager, so there you go. So, this is the last 6 home games for Oxford and the last 6 away games for Millwall. And you can see here, so, in all of these games, there's a cup game there against Brighton. I would imagine they flip the squad a lot. We know Gary Rowett doesn't give a shit about cup games. I'm surprised they even got to that must have been the second round. I'm surprised they even got that far. Because 3 days later they had a game at home against Coventry, and they managed to get a 2-2 draw. So we lost 4-0 at home to Coventry, and they managed to draw against them. And they drew against Leicester. They lost to Sheffield United, bizarrely. And they failed to score in that game, and that's the only league game here that they failed to score in. They scored against Derby and they won 1-0. They scored 2 against Leicester. They scored 2 against Coventry, and they scored 1 against Colchester. Oh, that was in the League Cup. So the first 2, these are both in the League Cup. And again, the only clean sheets they kept against Colchester in that League Cup, and against Derby in their last home game. So. And for Millwall, you can see, we kept a clean sheet against Newport, clean sheet against Sheffield United, but we've conceded in the last 4 away games, but only 1 goal. 1 at Charlton, 1 at Palace, 1 at Swansea, and 1 at QPR. And we drew 3 games, 1-1, but the game that we did manage to score a second goal in, we won 2-1. That's the last away game, our last away game, Queen's Park Rangers away. Here's the strengths and weaknesses. They seem to have a lot more strengths and a lot more weaknesses than us, which is unusual. So, let's get on to the prediction from WhoScored.com. They apparently play 5-4-1. Interesting. If they play 5-4-1, I don't think we'll be able to play it over the top for Femi to run onto. I don't think that's going to happen. So how do we play and how do we break them down? Bangor Williams coming in? Someone else coming in? I don't know. Here's the prediction. Oxford United scored twice in the first half against Basement Boys Sheffield Wednesday last weekend as goals from Will Lancashire and Cameron Brannigan sealed a 2-1 away win. Gary Rowett's men have won 2 of their last 3 championship fixtures, lifting them to 19th in the standings. Mill took the lead through informed forward Femi Aziz last Saturday and defended well in the second half, beating recently relegated Leicester 1-0 on home soil. Despite managing an injury crisis, yet again, Alex Neil has overseen 4 straight league wins, with the Lions now third in the Championship standings. And they say it's going to be Oxford 0, Mill 1. Oxford 0, Mill 1. And while we're here, if you look on the right hand side, I don't normally mention this, so it's got the top 3 in ratings, goals and assists, and we're pretty similar, 7.2 for Helix, 7.5 for Femi Aziz. The goals, Lancashire's got 4, Femi Aziz's got 4, and then Brandon 3, Negley 2. And then for assist, Kira Smacker 3 and Ballo 3, so pretty similar there, bizarrely. Now let's move on to this from sportsmile.co.uk. After a 4-year stint with Millwall earlier in his career, Oxford facing the Lions represents a big game for Gary Rowand, but he will be merely focused on trying to continue Oxford's improving form. Having started the campaign with just 1 win from 7 matches in all competitions, they were immediately up against it, but Oxford has since responded with 3 victories from their last 7 Championship fixtures. While the 2-1 success of Bristol City last month catches the eye, recent triumphs over relegation rivals Derby County and Sheffield Wednesday in 2 of the last 3 fixtures could prove pivotal. So the 2 victories have come again against other teams at the bottom of the table. Interesting. In front of a mammoth crowd at Hillsborough last time out, first half goals from Will Lancashire and Cameron Brannigan earned Oxford a 2-1 victory over the division's basement club. Since conceding 6 goals to Brighton and Hove Albion in the EFL Cup on August the 27th, Oxford have gone 9 Championship fixtures without shipping more than once in a single match. Can we score 2 tomorrow? Can we? I don't know. Meanwhile, Mill have reached a stage in their season where optimism is growing that they can prolong a bid for promotion, whether that be automatic or through the playoffs. 4 successive wins have kept Alex Neil's side within 2 points of second place Middlesbrough and 4 points ahead of Preston North End in 7th position. West Bromwich Albion, Queen's Park Rangers, Stoke City and Leicester City, clubs that all sit in the top 11, have been defeated during October, and Mill also keeping 3 clean sheets. Despite notable home wins over Stoke and Leicester, it's Mill's away form that is proving to be the difference, with 11 points collected from 5 matches on their travels. 3 wins and 2 draws have been posted, with just the 4 goals conceded, and the South Londoners are yet to ship more than 1 strike in a single away fixture during 25-26. You gotta love it, don't you, when people who are from outside London, they don't know that Millwall is an area in the Isle of Dogs, but Millwall Football Club is now in South London and has been since 1910. First at New Cross and now to South Bermondsey. After his early withdrawal against Sheffield Wednesday, Oxford wing-back Brodie Spencer is expected to be replaced by Sam Long. Brannigan was also substituted early in the second half, having picked up a knock, and his fitness will be assessed closer to the game. Will Fawkes is on standby to replace the midfield, but Rowett wants to retain as much of the same starting lineup as possible. Meanwhile, Neil is expected to name the same Millwall 11, providing no fitness issues have been picked up during the week. Last time out, Femi Aziz scored for the 4th game in succession, saving Millwall in a match when Mihajlo Ivanovic missed a penalty. However, despite the Serbian only netting once this campaign, the 20-year-old will continue to lead the line. And they say Oxford United 1, Millwall 2. With 2 wins from their last 3 matches, Oxford are growing in belief that they can remain in this division for a second successive campaign. However, we cannot ignore how Millwall are going about their own business, and a hard-fought victory for the visitors feels like the most likely outcome. One thing I want to mention. So it says they expect Alex Neil to name the same 11. Just seen, Oxford, they play with wing backs with 3-5-2, 5-4-1, whatever you want to call it. I think we need to change it. I don't think we can play the same formation that we've been playing, and it's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna work the same against that kind of formation. I don't know if we have to match them up or what, but I think you do need to change it slightly, maybe tweak it a little bit here and there. We'll see. Obviously, Alex Neil mentioned in his pre-match
that we just read from Southern News, that he's watched Oxford's games. He's watched nearly all of their games. So, hopefully he's got a trick up his sleeve. But this is a game I think, we're all bouncing up and down, and we think, it's fantastic that we won 4 in a row. The longer the run goes, the more chance it has of not continuing. It's like if you're tossing a coin. Oh, heads, heads, heads. 4th time, heads. If you flick at it for the 5th time, you think it's going to be heads again. I think if it was, you would start looking at the coin and think, this is a fake coin. This is fixed. This isn't a real coin. I think different formation. Gary Rowett, Oxford away. Obviously, is it going to be raining tomorrow? I don't know if it's going to be raining tomorrow. I'm thinking maybe 1-1. 1-1. Yeah, 1-1. But it would not surprise me, to be honest, if it's 1-0 to either team. 1-0 to us or 1-0 to them. But I'm going to go for the 1-1. And on that note, thank you for watching. Goodbye.